Hello and welcome people on the show with another fresh guest on the channel today. And this guest and this episode is really exciting because we have a truly inspiring coach with us on the channel. A coach whose energy is contagious and whose mission is clear, who is right here to help people for clarity, confidence, and consistency. So get ready for an honest, insightful, and motivating conversation on self awareness, growth, and the power of starting right where you are. So let's dive in with Miss Toshi in the house. I would request you to please tell us about yourself, a few lines, so at least the audience knows you better. Next on the screen is you, ma'am.
Hi, thank you, Dr. Aarti. Thank you for inviting me on this podcast. This is an amazing podcast that you have. So now, first question is you're asking me how my journey started. Okay, I was never a life coach forever. I worked as an animator before, but even back then, I naturally drew people in with my ability, to listen, to empathize with them, and listen to them without any judgment. So. During the lockdown, I took a life coaching course and discovered the vast world of niches that life coach has. But my niche was mindset and accountability coaching, and it truly resonated with me. That spark that came from my own journey of pushing through personal hurdles and realizing how much of that transformation came from within my mindset, my beliefs, and willingness to take action. So, what began as a casual mentoring to friends soon revealed the real impact I could make, and that is why I chose to be a life coach now. Over
That's a
to you.
very interesting intro, and I was actually not aware of this. So thank you for letting us know. Okay, so let me just ask you the first question, which we want to have from the audience perspective. So the first is that you describe yourself as a trainer, as a coach, as a cheerleader, and because you told us about your journey so far. So how does this journey help you grow? Details about your mindsets and accountability coaching began since the starting of your journey, and then what sparked your passion in this path? Why did you actually continue in this area?
See, this journey was amazing because there are a lot of things that I learned on the way. Now, my mantra is, to start where you are and what you have and do what you can. So I always follow this mantra. I can just relate one story. I can tell a one story about it. Like I mentioned that before I became a coach, I pursued animation at a renowned institute in Kolkata. So there was an entrance test, and I could not make through the cut initially. But instead of giving up, I learned, I leaned into this mantra of mine, which my dad had taught me, that face the situation, take the initiative, and just stay open. So what I did was I approached the faculty, expressed my genuine interest, and I asked to be considered, if there was a seat opened up, if in case somebody dropped out, and it did. So that experience, it not only kickstarted my journey in animation, it also planted the seed of resilience that still guides me today. So I have been using that mantra ever since, and trusting my voice, showing and believing that possibilities unfold when we do. So this is what I always want to give back to the world.
Right, because destiny is very important, and in case you stop putting your efforts, you might not land anywhere else. So yeah, just nothing is impossible. You just keep trying. Even the failure is a way of making sure that you actually pass and succeed in the future. So yeah, very interesting.
Yes.
And so the next question that I want to ask you is about your mantra that we have been talking about now. So where did you start your journey from, and then what actually influenced you, inspired you so far to continue in these years? You talk about empowerment in your channel. I've seen your channel. You're talking about, and there are many people on the channel who are talking about different inspirations. So can you share a personal story where we could relate and we could think of philosophy transformed into challenge, and that actually gave you the breakthrough that you actually are having as of now?
Okay, like I mentioned about my story I told about how my rather than giving in for the situation, rather than feeling dejected and just sitting at home and thinking about what I didn't do, I focused on what I can do next. Whatever has happened. So I believe that, okay, I had the capability to stand up and have the courage to go and talk to the faculties. This is my story. I'll tell you one more story of a client of mine. I basically deal with self awareness. Now this client of mine, she had a very low self esteem, and because of that she delved into this thing, people pleasing. And there is a very common thing that we say no even when we say yes, sorry, we say yes when we want to say no. So this is I realized that this was mainly because of the low self esteem that she was having. So my work was that I just assisted her that you need to realize your own strengths. So we worked on it, we took certain sessions, and the changes that I saw, that people pleaser has gone. She was not a people pleaser anymore, and she had gained the courage to say no when she wanted to say no. And it also, like being self aware, she also set up the boundaries for herself and also for the people how they're going to treat her.
Because as far as I know, and I also, try to imply that in my life, it's very important to say no nowadays because we, though on social media, still we are having more boost on this nowadays. There's more push
Absolutely.
where people are trying to tell us you should learn to say no and set boundaries. But still, there are a few people who are still, they're suffering and they're having depression, anxiety, and they still want to please, and they're actually concerned about the social parameters, status, and what people think about them. So, yeah, so now because we have talked about this self awareness, so can you actually brief what self awareness is? Because I'm sure people might know, but we can have a right definition from you what self awareness actually means.
Okay, self awareness. To me, self awareness means understanding what's happening inside me, whatever is happening inside us. Our thoughts, our emotions, our beliefs, our values, our habits. It's basically to know our own strengths and also focus on our own weaknesses so that we are able to work on the weaknesses. And once we are able to know our strengths and the weaknesses, it becomes easier for us to respond back. Sometimes what happens, suppose we are having a conversation, somebody says anything, there is a bit of a heated argument, and somebody says anything, and then all of a sudden we start taking it very personally. So once you are self aware, you are aware of your strengths, you are aware of your weaknesses, there is a resilience, there is an emotional quotient that is that rises up. You are able to understand, and then you will respond calmly without getting agitated, without um, aggravating that argument or aggravating that situation. So I think basically self awareness is knowing about your own self, and then you are able to make your own conscious choices about it.
Yeah, so because I feel nowadays we actually need somebody like you to coach us, tell us to the right way of applying self-awareness and understanding what it actually means, how we could apply that into our lives, and then go in the right direction. So the next question that I want to ask you is that how can self-awareness improve relationships, both personally and professionally?
Self awareness is very important in every aspect of life. So let me start with the personal life. See, when we are self aware, we it helps us to express our needs clearly. Like I mentioned before, we are able to set boundaries even for ourselves and also for the people around us. And this helps us handling the conflicts without any overreactions. And it also break the unhealthy habits, like shutting down or people pleasing or saying yes even when you want to say no. So you create a space for deeper connections and trust. So this is where self awareness comes useful in personal life. But in professional life, it sharpens your communication because it is you are able it is going to help you to give and receive the feedback with grace, and makes conflict easier to navigate. Like when you are in a professional background, you are going to get feedbacks. So rather than getting agitated or rather than getting disheartened about the feedbacks, you are going to take those feedbacks in a more positive way, where you are going to work on your this thing, your weaknesses. And also, obviously, once again, in our professional life as well, we are able to deal with the conflicts if we are aware of our weaknesses and strengths. We are able to deal with the conflicts in a better manner. And for leaders, it builds trusts and authenticity, which lifts the entire team. So, in the end, about this topic, I would say that in every relationship, self-awareness helps us to, move from reacting to responding.
That's a very interesting
That's it.
message. And so this message actually brings me a curiosity to ask you that, okay, so generally in the relationships we have the expectation that the females are supposed to handle and take care of the relationship for the relationship to move forward. So what do you want to think?
Mm.
What do you want to say on that? So how does this self-awareness, and what do you preach that people should follow now, so at least in the future this responsibility either is balanced or is not completely dumped on the females? Because if I talk about Indian society or our society nearby, there are major cases happening nowadays of divorce and separations, and every now and then we have this on the social media. So how can a female grow and have boundaries and still handle herself and the family or the relationships? And then what do you want to say about that?
I know that whatever you're saying, that's the kind of a bitter truth of the society. But I would still say, I would still suggest to everyone, any relationship, it has to be both ways. And once there is a self awareness, it has to be discussed with your partner. You need to share your strengths to each other. You need to share the weaknesses with each other, so that suppose we are in a marital relationship. So if we share the strengths, we share the weaknesses, we can allot the responsibilities accordingly. Suppose I am good with taking care of the kids. My husband is very good in finance. His strength is finance. My strength is taking care. So obviously, if it's vice versa, if it's the other way around, it's going to create a lot of problems. And apart from that, like I mentioned, and it goes both ways to both the man and the woman, or any two people in a relationship. You need to set boundaries. It is very important to set boundaries. You need to create your own space, and the other person has to respect the boundaries. So this is what, creating a boundary and getting to know your strengths and weaknesses and discussing it with the partner or with the group of people, it's going to improve the relationship in any way.
Yeah, because the partners need to talk about that. Actually, they should sit together, discuss their weaknesses, strengths, and actually explicitly talk about this. Because otherwise, if you keep assuming, and you assume that, okay, the other partner should already know what I actually
Correct.
want and do not want, then maybe somewhere in the future
Yes.
you might have problems. So yeah. Okay, so the next question that I want to ask you is about your daily practices or exercises that you recommend for building and maintaining self awareness over a period of time. So, what people can do to ultimately, go ahead in the process.
Okay. So, cultivating this self awareness is an ongoing journey. Okay, it's not the it's a journey, I would say, and it's not a destination. So you have to keep on working on it. You have to keep on practicing that. I recommend very strongly that we should maintain a regular journal. Journaling is something which is very important if you really want to be self-aware. Now, journaling is basically you reflect on daily experiences, your emotions, your triggers. It allows you to observe the pattern, and you track the personal growth, especially when you are reviewing these past patterns. If you are in habit of journaling, you are going through the previous journals, you are able to realize what exactly triggered me, what exactly made me anxious, what exactly made me angry. So if you're writing down everything, it is going to make you realize what are your triggers, what are your emotional strengths, what are your weaknesses. So next is uh, the other part of the life coaching, and that is mindfulness and meditation. These are like, they focus on the present moment awareness and non-judgmental observation of your thoughts. Whatever thoughts you are getting while you are doing meditation, you don't have to judge them. You can treat them like passing of the cloud, and identify and clarify your personal values. Then consciously align your daily actions with these values to ensure authenticity. And practice observing your emotional reactions, pausing before responding to strong emotions to understand that they are that their root cause, what are their root causes are, and choose more constructive responses. And obviously, last but not the least, when facing challenges, reframe your questions from why to what. Why has this happened to what can I do now? So these are the few things that we can do, very small things we can do every day. And it doesn't take much of the time, just, you can say maybe 10 to 15 minutes of your daily time. That's it.
Right. So we had a podcast in the previous episode. There was a mindset coach with us in the last episode. We were pondering, and because you were talking about mind connect and mindset and all of that, those frequent terms. So is manifestation also a part of it?
Mhm.
Because manifestation is a very frequent term used everywhere nowadays on social media. So can manifestation play an important part in self awareness? Because you're talking about writing something, and writing also is a part of manifestation. So can you just elaborate on that in case it is relatable or somewhere people can benefit?
Absolutely. Manifestation is very important. Uh, I feel manifestation as, you just picture yourself where you want to go. Suppose you have a goal. You just picture yourself, you are manifesting your thoughts in that. You do the meditation, then you create an action plan, make an action plan, make small action plans, achieve those goals. And even the smallest goals that you achieve, just celebrate them, so that you are motivating yourself. You don't have to wait for the external validation to get motivated. So when you are creating a manifestation, it really works, because you are but see, manifestation doesn't mean that you just have to think and that's it. No, you have to work on this manifestation. Like I said, that you need to create an action plan. So creating an action plan doesn't have to be a big action plan. So you don't have to be,
Yes.
creating
Small,
huge
small
goals.
things.
Small goals you can do, and then achieve it, and then celebrate those achievements. And this is how you are going to reach your your dream goals or whatever it is.
Yeah, because when we talk about writing something, I guess it also, it also gives you focus when you, for example, on the table, if you want to place something written and you want to focus on that every time, because when you're working, you can see that also, and that also gives you a boost that you want to achieve and go to a particular destination, right, in your life and achieve the target. So I was pretty curious to
Absolutely.
understand how it actually works, and because in the previous podcast we actually have had a long discussion on how it works and how innocently when you were young you used to write something and then now ultimately you achieve that. So because initially there was no idea of manifestation when I was young, I had no idea when I was a kid. I still used to write something, but there was no idea that okay, this actually works as a part of manifestation. But it actually worked. I used to write
Mhm.
doctor in front of my name when I was young, like 8 or 10 years ago, and now fortunately, I am actually working in the same industry. So yeah, okay. So moving to the next question is how do you
Yeah, see,
actually?
whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I just wanted to add that you might have manifested, but you have worked on it. Like it's not that you have thought and the things have happened. You must have, given your time, your energy to it, and that is how the manifestation worked. So this is what I wanted to add.
Yeah, so both come together. Yeah, so positive, right thinking, writing something, and then working, put in efforts, of course, is important. Yeah. How can self awareness help someone navigate the balance between the personal identity and the external expectations from society and family?
See, self-awareness, I would say, again, I think I'll have to just repeat myself. See, basically, self-awareness is, if you know that, what are your strengths, what are your blind spots. When I say blind spots, it means weaknesses. So you are not getting affected by the external validation. You are not dependent on what people are telling you. You're not dependent on what people are thinking of you, because you yourself know that you are, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. You know where to work on yourself. And when you are aware of your own self, when you're aware that okay, these are the, I'll just give an example. Say, certain sound or certain area, it triggers your emotions. It triggers your emotions. But when you know that okay, you need to understand why is it triggering me, what exactly is triggering me. When you're able to realize, okay, what exactly is making me angry, what exactly is making me anxious. So these kind of awareness, when you are able to work on it, and then you are able to make a very conscious decisions, and it helps you in decision making, it helps you in resolving conflicts, it helps you in making your relationships stronger. It can be professional, it can be your personal, or maybe your with the spouse or your partners or anybody.
So, thank you for this in detailed explanation and insightful conversation today on self awareness and from your journey and your experiences. So, the podcast comes to an end because I know you have a very busy schedule, and thank you for finding out time to come on the show. Can you just give us few suggestions, like to the audience, any advice, last suggestions that you want to say to our audience so they can benefit?
The only suggestion I would say is, if you are focusing on your strengths and if you are focusing on your weaknesses, that doesn't mean that you are weak. It just makes you stronger, because you are mature enough, or you are strong enough to work on your weaknesses. I would say always be self aware, so that you don't have to be a people pleaser, you don't have to wait for the external validation. And I would recommend doing journaling, where you at the end of the day you can just write down what are the things that made you anxious, what are the things that made you happy, what made you happy, what others said to you made you happy, and then keep on reading those journals, and focus on your strengths and focus on your weaknesses, and try to work on the weaknesses. That's it.
Right. Thank you for this crisp and in-depth and yet meaningful, impactful statement and advice. So here to the end of the podcast, and I'm thankful again to have you on the show. It was really good to learn from you, of course. As a host, also we can always learn from the guest every time on the show. It was really a refreshing and insightful conversation. So, Abhi, thank you for being on the day. You actually shared your wisdom and from your heart, reminding us that all the progress starts with the presence and that self-awareness is very important, the first step towards the real transformation. The team and me, of course, we are thankful enough to have you on the show. I hope you
Thank you
enjoyed the
so much,
conversation
Dr.
with us, and we can have more sessions with you in the future also.
Sure, sure. And thank you so much for inviting me. It was a real pleasure to be here.
My pleasure. So can you please share your handle, so at least people want to, in case they want to follow or contact you, they can follow you on YouTube and Instagram?
Yes, my Instagram handle is it's Toshi at youthewinner.com. So it's you can see all the details there, and
Right. So people,
I
in case
have
you
a
want to
LinkedIn
contact
also, LinkedIn
her,
profile under the name Toshi.
all right. So in case people want to
Sorry.
contact
Yeah.
you, I will actually paste comment and details of your handle and your website on the channel. So in case they want to, look at contact, go ahead with the same. All right. So thank you so much and have a good
That would
day.
be so
And
great.
yeah, no problem. Of course.
Thank you.
Nice
You
to
too.
have
Bye
you on
bye.
the show. Take care. All right, so this was a truly inspiring and heartfelt conversation we had today. A warm thank you to our guest for not only sharing their expertise, but also the authenticity. Her insights and the conversation remind us about the meaningful growth began with the self-awareness and being fully present in the foundation of the progress. Thank you for inspiring us to reflect, realign, and move forward with purpose. Whether you're just beginning your personal growth journey or you are deeply into it already, today's episode has actually offered you tools, truths, and realistic advices that actually must be followed. That actually gives you a spark for keep going forward in the future. Thank you for tuning in for the show. If you like the episode today, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment your reviews in the comment section below. Until the next time, stay grounded, stay growing. Always remember, you start where you are from, one step at a time. And this is your host signing off. Thank you.